is a quote, tackling climate change could create opportunities for a company to increase its value by up to 80% if it's well positioned and proactive. On the other hand, it could threaten up to 65% of value if the company is poorly positioned or a laggard. This is a quote from work from a paper by the Carbon Trust and McKinsey and Co. Climate change as being a business revolution. And this is a diagram from the paper, and it essentially places products into 4 areas where it perceives there's opportunities and threats. Demand up here, it perceives building insulation as one example, where there's potential value from this carbon market. Transformation is another area here where automotive industry is a good example, where their product will have to change to become concerning carbon, so electric vehicles, for example. This 4th one, volatility in beer. This is not like a Scotsman going home after a drink on a night out. Just with all the connotations in that box of beer, volatility and a squiggly path. It's not what it means. But this is about there's a low value, or there's a low value from the carbon market for certain companies, but there's not really much of a risk. There's a high risk for someone like oil and gas, where I think it came up yesterday that if we cut 80% of our carbon emissions then from certain products, then that's going to be 80% less oil and gas. So there's a huge risk for certain organisations, and they really have to consider that. This is a marginal abatement curve, which is sounds like a fancy economic term, but what it serves to show is that there is different costs associated with combating carbon, and it's come up a couple of times in the last few days. Heather was talking earlier on about, for example, in transport, it might be cheaper and more efficient to install diesel operators or diesel vehicles on a certain route, as opposed to going to biodiesel, which you see is right at the other side. I mean, the general premise of this curve shows that on the left-hand side here, there is a negative cost associated with these products, when at the other hand there's a positive cost associated. So economists will look at this and go, well, the most efficient from an economics point of view is to invest in these things first, because as the return, insulation is the most sort of obvious one. If you insulate a house, you will save in carbon and you will save in your energy costs. So there's a win-win situation here. So this shows that if we were to plot transport upon this, and there's some transport in this thing, in this curve here, fuel-efficient vehicles are less costly than biodiesel. So it prioritises for cities, for companies to think where actually is the best area that I should be investing in. So the second part is about what opportunities are there for catch to become financially sustainable. There are 2 major policy responses to climate change: mitigation and adaptation. Mitigation is about actions or measures to decrease the intensity of global warming and climate change. This is targeting the cause of climate change and what can be done to reduce that. Examples of this are low carbon technology, a carbon market, or a behavioural change. On the other hand, adaptation is about actions or measures to minimise the effects of global warming or climate change, targeting the effect. And then this examples are flood defences, crop rotation, early warning systems. So just thinking from Catch's point of view, we fall under the mitigation. We are trying to reduce, through behavioural change, the cause of climate change. Instead of actually adapting to climate change, we want to reduce the cause. So this, what I'm trying to promote here is a kind of visual representation of how we see Catch. In the short term, EU funding is an input to Catch, and the output to catch is carbon-friendly travel choices. In the medium term, we still have EU funding, and carbon-friendly travel choices is our end goal. We want to promote opportunities that will feed back into the catch platform to further promote catch to last in the long term, because the EU funding is only for a particular period in time. We really want to promote catch to exist in the long term. We don't want it to finish at the end of its project. It's a project for the long term, and the ideas and impacts of catch has to last into the long term. Fundamentally, at the end, we want catch to generate this revenue stream, but also stimulate business opportunities, well, with the whole final goal as carbon-friendly travel choices. So that's just to represent how we see this time frame of catch from a financial point of view. So we're thinking, what opportunities are there to help catch become financially sustainable in the future? This little light bubble up here every so often throughout the presentation, just to think of something that we might talk about in the discussion afterwards. So these are just some questions we would like you to think about, and maybe we can discuss these later. What is the sort of financial and commercial value of catch if it achieves its aim to become the natural place to look for greenhouse gas emission data? What can catch offer businesses? Who might be interested in catch from industry and business? And how can we ensure that the ideas and information and positive interest that catch generates is sustained and carried into the future? And this is the real key point here. We really want the ideas and the groundswell and the positive impacts that come from catch to continue on in the future. It doesn't just exist in this time. It really wants to change behaviour and give people opportunities to carry what is here as a real positive project and for it to carry on in perpetuity.